Welcome everyone to Chess TV episode 355. Today is May 9th, 2017, and we are going to get something in my eye right now. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to play some endgames in chess. One of the most boring parts of the game, however, one of the most useful parts. If you ever end up in an endgame, it can be very useful to be good at endgames because great endgame skill can crush an opponent in an otherwise equal position. So today we're going to look at some positions with pawns, some positions with pawns and rooks, and of course some positions with pawns and knights and bishops. Let's start with the pawns. That's the most simple kind of situation. So we'll jump to the board editor here and we will show the screen and we will go starting position. So add the pieces to the board here. One moment, please. Loading, as they say in Korean. And we'll just take the pieces off and leave the pawns. Now, one thing that makes pawns a bit more interesting is to have something of a pawn majority on each side of the board. So we're going to do it like this so that one pawn is missing for each side, but on different sides of the board. So if you want to practice this position against me, the Wiz himself, you have a chance to do this because I'm going to throw this link in the chat of the stream right now. So get ready to click that. In fact, it's probably already shown up for you because increment 4 seconds because of the delay between the audio and the chat. So actually you're gonna have to click that quick. In the past, oh, go. I say go right now. It's funny because if you're watching live right now, it showed up in the chat like 10 seconds ago because of the latency difference, and so the go doesn't line up. So let's see who we get here. We have none other than Anonymous, the world's best chess player. Anonymous playing against us here in an endgame. Good luck, Anonymous. The most important thing about an endgame like this is to get your king active. So I actually think this is a mistake because kings, it's all about your king in this game. So I've moved my king twice. He hasn't moved his king. This is an advantage for me. I want to get as far advanced as I can, though. So if I come up here, he plays here. He's soon going to boot me out in this position, and I want to chase him back. So let's play this move in order to get a hold of this square. And now I can advance here. Now, this is kind of strange because I have the majority on this side of the board, and yet my king is over here. So it's very unusual setup. If he checks me, though, I can take him. If he protects and then checks, I can move up. So I've got a very advanced king here. Let's see if I can break through on this side of the board. If I can't, at least life will be interesting for most people. Let's defend that pawn. I don't think I can break through here. Push. He does nothing. Oh, never mind. Now I'm in. Now I'm in like Flynn. So if he takes here, I take here. That leaves no more pawn majority on the king side, I guess that is. Everything's the king side when you have only kings. So that's 3 against 3 over there, but my king is very advanced. So now we can see the power of the advanced king. I think I can win this game. Now, push, take, king takes. I'm on the side of the board. Is that a problem? No, because this. So let's do it. This pawn, he doesn't want to lose it, but if he defends it, he keeps his king stuck in the corner. It's an advantage for me. Also, this pawn is very undefended, right? No pawns can ever defend that, and guarding it with his king is going to be very difficult. So now that I have this advanced king position, I simply need to make sure he never does anything on this side of the board, and this move I've just made ought to do that, although I have kind of... Nope, he can't get in. I was thinking for a moment he could come in this way, but that square is a no-go because of that, so I think we are looking good. Let's just kind of maneuver around him and take this pawn. Oh, I don't know if I should, though. If I take here, he goes here, and then he's in again. So let's force him to move one more time. Let's just dink this thing up here and get the king this way and then work our way toward this pawn. The center pawn is more useful to go after here simply because there's a lot that could be captured in the middle of the board. We'll be able to deal with that more easily. I'm getting a hello from HSD Samalama. I don't even know you. He's like, long time no see. Yeah, it was before I was born the last time I saw you. That's impressive. I think I got this pawn, though. Yeah, he cannot defend this pawn, guys. It's a funny thing in chess endgames sometimes. You wish you could just pass, and that's called Zugzwang, which is also known as Zugzwang, which means if only it were his turn always, I'd be okay. If his king were right here, maybe not in this quite in this position, but if let's say he's guarding this pawn and I'm attacking it, if he could pass, he'd still be guarding it. But when he has to move, there's nowhere he can move because these squares are guarded that don't lose the pawn. So there's actually positions here where I can win simply because he can't pass, and that's a typical. Typical thing. So if I do this and he goes here and I do this, let's just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I calculate that 4 is less than 7. So that sounds good for me. Now the best way to stop an enemy pawn from promoting is to put your queen in front of it. So let's see if I can get my queen sitting right here. There is no way to dislodge an enemy queen once it's arrived at the queening square, but he resigns instead. So it's actually a little difficult for me to get my queen in there, but I can just kind of fork off his pawn. If the pawn were far advanced, I could still win this simply by trading my queen for the pawn because my king is more active and I can go take these pawns next. If there were no pawns over here and no pawns over here or here or here, and it was just king and queen against king and pawn, and the pawn was already here, he could actually draw that game. So another reality that's different than this reality. Let's click this from position. Let's play this in game once more against a different anonymous, because although that was great, sometimes it's better to have a longer game. Thank you, anonymous. Oh, why did I click here? Thank you, anonymous, for that game. I appreciate that. Appreciated that game. Next clicker in the chat gets the game against the Wiz. Pawns versus pawns. Do not lose this game. So Ans Jovis 86, your advice of the day is to use your king. And look at that. He's still not doing it. I think he should have played king f2 as the first move. But this isn't as bad as what happened last game. Now, let's see if it continues that way. I don't like this. His setup is just better. It's not fair. See how he's using his king? That's the right approach. So now d4, he gets more space. This is not fair. I got black pieces again. Not fair, man. Totally not. So he's got the more advanced king. But if he pushes, I take. Yeah, he's preparing his pawn for that. What if I play d5? I think I should. The fact is, that's a backward pawn, and I need the space. What I'm hoping for is that I could get my king to the 4th rank, rather than capturing and letting his king get to the 4th rank. Because whoever's on the 4th rank is further ahead. Thank you, Ansdovis. Now my king is more advanced than his king, and that's nice. That's really nice. I appreciate that. From here, I don't want to let his king advance. So I don't want to let my king get pushed back. So I don't want to allow him to play c4 in a position where that would make sense for him. It wouldn't make sense right now, so that's perfect. Hello, Zwick, cool name. Sounds like a foreign language to me. d3. So if he plays c4 check, so let's keep his king out this way. That'll allow me to actually run this direction, and the pawn is covering that square. So that's very helpful. I think I want to just run this way. I can use this pawn to prevent this check here. And my king is still more advanced, so I like my position here. Another nice thing about this position is I still have a pawn majority 4 against 3-ish in this area of the board, so I can actually cause him trouble later. What if he were to play here? And I take and he moves king up. Probably he doesn't want to do that. I just don't want rancid milk. I hate rancid milk. It smells so bad. I don't want that. So if he plays a3, I certainly want to play, oh, that's h. I definitely want to play h5 to prevent this pawn push. Okay, this is great. I like this. I want him to move his king so I can advance up here, and then I'm going to push here, and then pretty soon I'm going to win. However, there's one thing about. Should I play h5? Yeah. The nice thing about this shape, there's a little time added each move, so don't worry about me over here. Now he has to move his king. The nice thing about this position is I've given myself enough space that if I ever need to pass, I can use this pawn to pass. I can go bloop, 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 and then I'm passing. Ooh, this is interesting. Now I could go this way. Is this an advantage for me? I go here. What does he do? Push to take, and then I go here, and then what does he do? And then I like bam, and bam, bam, and I think this is going to work. I didn't think it would be quite this easy. So here I could play en passant, which is beautiful. Now I will take this pawn, which allows me to promote this pawn very quickly. Oh yeah, great play, Chess Whiz. I think your best move is to just go, go, go. You got in 3 moves, you're going to get a queen. Takes him a lot longer. Does this seem familiar? Ooh, it does. And there's my queen with check. So once again, if he had what I described, maybe it was a draw, but not here. So this is another similar game. Here's the key to winning. Get your king further advanced. Your king is a fighting piece in the endgame. In fact, some people say that a king is worth the same as a knight or bishop, but those people are stupid because I traded my king for a knight and I lost. So don't follow that advice. But if you play without your king, it's like you're down a piece. It's like you're down a knight. And here with my more advanced king kind of angling into his pawns, I was definitely with the upper hand here. I've got a challenge here from Horrid Henry. I'm going to decline that because I don't trust it's not some stupid position. But I do have a position here with a pair of rooks added to the board. So let's try this one. Continue from here. Play with a friend if I've got any. And I'll throw this link into the chat. Taking a random color. Very generous of me here. See how it goes. And the challenge has been accepted by Sorry, I Am Salty. Hello, Sorry. I am Salty. Interesting name. I'm the white player, so I can take the open file. Yes, so I have a huge advantage here. Thank you so much for giving me the white pieces now. There is one open file on this position. This is not open because it's semi-open. Any file that has one enemy pawn on it, or rather one pawns of one color, that's semi-open. It's open for me and not him. And look at this now. Owning. This is actually a common theme is to get your rook to the open file and then get your rook to the 7th rank. This is the 7th because that's where all the guys' pawns start out. And look at the advantage I have now. My rook is active, his rook is passive. I love being the starting player. His king is pinned back. This is a big deal. If his king were up here, like if it could jump 2 squares, like, you know, in the king jump chess, for example, he would be a lot better off because he wouldn't have to be stuck like that. Yeah. It's going to take him quite a while to untangle. Meanwhile, I need to formulate a victory. It's actually very hard to win Rook Endgames. Let's see if this guy's really 2200. Nope. He's more like 1600 or 1900 or 2200. See that question mark? It's like, It means he hasn't played very many games, only 3. Or he could be 2000 or 1600 or 1300. Man, this guy is a mysteriously strong player. Mysterious. So he's going to try to get his pawns off the back rank so that he can play over here. But this is huge. This is huge for me. This is like the size of New York City. That's how big it is. I hope that's understandable. Super unfair. So when there's one open file and you've got it, you're in great shape. And he did the right thing to try to challenge it, but he couldn't challenge it. So was there anything he could do here? Because look how advanced my king is. Am I going to win this? Actually might not win this. He gives up the pawn finally. Good move, buddy. Should have done that a while ago, I think. Do I take it? Yes. Now, what's going to happen? This is where it's getting interesting finally. He moved his rook to the 7th, which is the right choice. He can't take this pawn while I'm guarding it. Well, he could, but let's ignore that. He can eat these 3 pawns, and I can't save them. And I don't really want to try. If I could get my king up here, you know, like moving like a knight, that could really cause him some trouble. I mean, I could take this with check, but I could maybe checkmate him. Or I could at least, you know, promote this pawn. So I think maybe f4 would be my move. I'm just going to play that because I'm running low on time. But if I try to pick these pawns up, meanwhile, he just eats these so easily. He's going to take this, and then what do? Push my h-pawn? I'm falling off the screen. Let's move the chair. Salty, you're out of time. Let me add him some time. Okay, that's a mistake. Mistake, man. What's bad about it? Let's let his king up because it just attacks 2 pawns at once. Defend that pawn. He's too defensive. That's his problem. You need your rook to be active. And playing the rook up here defending, not the right approach because the rook is doing less than if it were active. When you have only 2 pieces, it's even more critical that your pieces do more. This is going to be exciting. If he checks me and then I enter his house, I'm in your house, man. This is going to be pretty fun for me. Hmm. Do I have to add you more time? See, he can't really get a good attack here. I'll take this pawn because making this be a passed pawn is very effective. A passed pawn is a pawn that enemy pawns can't block. So he has no pawn here in this file, no pawn. You need more time, man. No pawn on an adjoining file like this side or maybe on the Z file. He can't get there either. He resigns. I win. So how did I win that so easily? I don't know, but what I think I should do is take black in that position and see if it can be salvaged. So let's do that now. Let's go continue from here, play with a friend, and I'm going to take the black pieces. The interesting thing about rook endgames is that it's very hard to win them against a good player. In fact, there's a saying in chess which is all rook endgames are drawn. All rook endgames are drawn, which is kind of silly because what if it's like, well, I have 3 rooks and he doesn't have any? Is that a draw? But generally speaking, if you're wondering if it's a draw, it probably is. So he's got the open file now. I'm fighting against Anonymous. Now that you know the key is activate your rook, I am certainly not going to put my rook behind here. I am simply going to try to activate my rook as best as possible. And that means using the file that it's on. So I'm going to first try to rescue my pawns like this on the B and A files. And then I'm going to maybe push this pawn and get the rook active. Or maybe I'll let the king out this way. Because if I could get my king off the back rank, that would be helpful also. So I think maybe that's actually my next priority here. I haven't lost any pawns, so this is already quite a bit better than my last game where my opponent kept his king stuck back here. So this is better. I can't go this way. So I have to choose between these two options. Both. They don't look that great. I mean, they're both kind of away from the action. Third option is just to push here. His king enters quicker than mine. If I play king f8, he could play this move. Let's do this and see if he'll go for a draw. Because if he plays up, I could play down, or is that up? And then we're back in the old position where he has to say, what? I got this terribly unfair advantage, and now nothing happens. So he's not going to do that, which means I can now kick his rook out and survive this game. Okay, so c5 now, perhaps, or just king? Keep using your king, man. Use your king, use your rook. Those are the two important parts of a king and rook endgame. Use your king and your rook. Brilliant, brilliant idea. But actually, it's important to keep those in mind. Some people get confused by all the pawns, and they're like, okay, so what do I do? Use the pawns. No, don't use the pawns. Use the king and use the rooks. Way more important. So f5 here, c5. I'm going to get more space. I'm going to get, eventually, my rook's going to be great, and then I'll be winning. However, it's going to be a draw because all rook endings are drawn. F5, I think. Important so that he can't play his rook here. Kind of limits his options. Also, if he plays over here, I could play h5. Easy to defend that. I'm going to play f5 right now. I also don't want him to come in here. Okay, let's play this move. Stopping this. And then if he plays here, I can't push, but that's okay. I'll just let that sit for a little. Now, I think I push here. Activating my rook a little more. And plus his rook can't get in, so that's good. And now I can push here. Expert play. Rooks love to be behind pawns that are moving forward. So you could see how much better my rook has gotten with each successive move of this c pawn because it just has so much more room to breathe. Humans like this too. I mean, nobody who's super wealthy is like, oh, you know what I don't do? I want to live in a super small house. Like, that's very rare. Most humans like large houses. Rooks are the same way. Rooks are just like humans. Okay, so I can pick this up. There seems to be no downside to that. And now I've got an advantage. Should I just block this and get doubled pawns? No. I think no. Pushing it is good, though. Now, is the rook better over here on the open file, or is it better down here? Neither. The king. Use the king and the rook. It's the king is the most inferior piece. King sitting back here versus rook doing something. What you should do generally in a chess position is find the piece that's not participating, that's not doing as much. And in that case, it was the king. And improve that one. Imagine that you have 5 forks, and one of them doesn't have any food on it. Do you see the problem? The problem is with the analogy. Okay, forget that. Obviously, you want food on all your forks because that's totally the way people eat nowadays, is with 5 forks in a star shape around their plate. So now that I've explained that to you, I hope it made sense. I'll challenge that with my rook. What I would love for you to do is trade rooks. Nope, so I'll advance here. So his rook is behind. Try to keep these pawns on the board. His rook is kind of tied up now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. His rook is kind of tied up behind the pawn. My rook, it's not in the best place. I mentioned that rooks like to be behind things that move forward. It's true here. My rook would love to be somewhere behind this pawn, but it can't. So this is the next best option. Taking a bunch of pawns for free is very delicious, so I guess I'll just do that instead. If I play up, this is kind of exciting. Oh, he'll check me this way, maybe. If he checks, I block him. I'm threatening checkmate. I love threatening checkmate. It's like one of my favorite things to do, besides eat food with 5 forks. So let's use all the things. What's going to happen eventually is I will win. But on a more macro scale, this pawn isn't going anywhere and it's annoying him. He wants to capture it, but to do that, he needs 2 pieces. He needs to use his rook and his king, 2 things against 1. And I can just allow that. I can say, oh, wow, congratulations in getting all the way down there, checkmate. You got it. And then I can trade rooks, and then I can win on this side of the board. So he was doomed after he lost those pawns. But did you see I turned that around? The way I turned that game around was to activate the rook. In fact, it is worth losing a pawn. It is actually worth losing a pawn for nothing if it goes from rook sitting on b8 behind pawn on b7. Instead, rook active on c2, attacking enemy pawns. Active rook is worth a lot. So that was fun. I think we have time for one more endgame position. Let's see what kind of challenge we got here from S Tactic. What position is this? Um, S Tactic, this position is not very impressive. Uh, like, whose move is it? Uh, what? Oh, it's White's move. Okay, so he's going to take the rook. Uh, right? I can't save my rook. Trying to win. Try to win. It's a win for White. Well, it's your turn, dude. You have White. Tongue sticking out. I guess I'll abort and rematch. Then I can be White. Right? Because if I have just a king, what is there to think about? Play me again as tactic. I'll play you again. Similar position, except I have all the things and you have just a king. Sounds good to me. He says O. That's a great letter. Rematch? Okay, so now I'm black. What? What? My pawn goes this way. The pawn can't take the rook. It took me 10 minutes to realize that. Okay, so it's try to win. Well, if I push my pawn, that's a pretty good idea. Your turn now. So this is actually kind of interesting. It's a fun endgame puzzle. The trick is if I move up, he can pin me, and then he can trade his rook for my pawn. I don't want him to get to do that, so I don't move there, right? Because I want to promote the pawn without him capturing it. If I move here, though, he has this really cool tactic where he plays his rook to the back, and then if I promote, check, and he skewers me. Do you guys know what a skewer is? I'm playing here. A skewer is where you attack something valuable in front, like a king. It's valuable. And then when it moves out of the way, you get whatever's behind. So in this case, let's say he checks me and I move here. Oh no. And then I promote and then a skewer. Okay, these colors are all mixed up. Attacking the king, when it moves, he gets the queen. So the trick to this game is actually to walk the king down here so that he cannot skewer me when I play here. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. And actually, if this were an infinite chessboard, he could not. Oh, one more trick, one more genius trick. If I promote to a queen and he plays check, that's like a fork, right? So I take his rook for free and that causes stalemate because the queen covers the square. Cool chess puzzle. Cool chess puzzle. So I don't want to promote to a queen. But if I move up here, then you can come. Oh no, I think I need to under promote. Notes. Edit. Settings. I have 10 seconds. Preferences. I need to promote to a rook, I think. No, then he plays over here. Ah, stay. If he plays over here, then I've got a rook. And then how do I win? I don't win, so I don't want a rook. Well, this is a great puzzle then. If I promote to a queen, he checks me and I stalemate him. But if I promote to a rook, then he will defend his side, and I can't win. So maybe I should promote to a knight. That must be it. No. I can play here. I don't see the answer anymore. What a subtle puzzle. Okay, so here he comes down for the skewer. Now if I promote, he skewers me. So I have to play here. But then, oh no, you're too smart for me. Oh, the answer has been announced in the chat. Very good. So it's control promote. That's one of the answers. Control promote allows you to choose. So I have to make a rook. And then after he defends his back rank, it is King B3 fork. Amazing. ChessWiz did not see this. I only saw the first part where you have to walk all the way down here and then like this. But the second part of the puzzle, very, very clever. Share this puzzle with your friends, guys. You can see the starting position if you rewind the video a little bit or just close your eyes and remember what it was. This is a great puzzle because there's 2 or 3 clever tricks in it. There's the pin, there's the skewer, and there's the fork. 3 beautiful tactics. So King B3 forking the rook and the checkmate. They both can't be stopped, and white wins. Great puzzle. I did not solve this S tactic. Credit actually goes to Cut64 from the chat. Congratulations, Cut. You have won a set of cutlery that will never be delivered. Great, great puzzle. Enjoyed that. Next episode, we're going to play some King of the Hill chess, which is just like chess, except if you get your king to the center of the board, you win, which is hilarious because if you get your king to the center of the board, you're about to get checkmated way out there. So people they move their king out too early and then it's very edge of your seat kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to playing that variant next episode. I'll see you there. I'll see you then. That's going to be Saturday at 3 p.m. GMT. Or if you're on YouTube, it's going to be as soon as you get an email from YouTube that says ChessWiz episode. Hope you enjoyed it. By the way, there's a cool thing on the website right now. If you go to see chesswiz.tv, see it right down there, chesswiz.tv. It's got an H and Wiz. Don't mess that up. Right now, this website has a really cool thing on it, which is something that tells you what's coming next. See, up next, episode 356, King of the Hill, blah, blah, blah. I told you that, but if you scroll down, which you can't do, so let me resize this. Okay, if you scroll down, it says sign up for the Wiz letter. Do that. You've never ever signed up for a Wiz letter in your life, and this is the world's best Wiz letter. So do not miss the Wiz letter, and your life will be complete. Did I say that 2 episodes ago? Well, your life will still be complete. It's going to be that complete. 100% complete. This has been ChessWiz TV. Thanks for watching.